Hi, President Davidson here with a Roadrunner Rundown. You know, here we are at the start of the semester, and there's been a lot of questions about our campus and how we maintain some of these pretty old buildings. So I thought we would just start by going straight to the source and talking to our Auraria partners. So I have with me today Colleen Walker. She's the new CEO of the Auraria campus, and also our own COO and Vice President for Admin and Finance, Larry Sampler. Hi.
Hey, Janine, it's great to be here.
Yeah, so a lot of people don't really understand this partnership that we have with Auraria because there's 3 schools on this campus and you're sort of in charge of all that. How does it work?
Well, we were founded in 1976, so we've had a very long-standing partnership. We have the land, we've got the buildings, we have shared services, we have the library, we have the our police force, and of course we have the historic Tivoli Student Union.
Well, we're focused on making sure that our students have a great place to work and to learn, and our faculty and staff are in safe and secure buildings. And AHEC is kind of the go-to resource for that. We have 3, as you said, 3 universities on the campus. We have to have somebody that manages all those resources, and AHEC does a great job of that for us.
So we have a lot of buildings here on campus. We have a lot of new buildings,
Yes.
but these are some of the older buildings. So let's talk about how we keep these buildings in good condition, healthy condition.
These are our first classrooms, so they are our historic buildings, which is great. But we have 150 people on staff that are working on the HVAC, so heating, ventilation, and air conditioning.
Mm-hmm.
We've got our irrigation, our landscaping. I mean, really, it is inside or outside, the building envelope and the exterior. So everything just to make sure that the buildings are maintained well, that they're safe, they're healthy, and they're comfortable.
So this is like a giant version of the thing that's at my house that I have to change out every month?
Yes. This is a great example of one of our air handling units. We have these all over the campus. We're in the science building right now.
I wish the HVAC in my home was this clean.
As do I.
So this thing is all that I can see almost the daylight. So the external air is coming in here, right? So fresh air, good.
Fresh air.
That's
which is
good.
Yes.
And one of the issues about being a good neighbor is making sure that people who are smoking are not smoking in the vicinity of these air intakes, because then their cigarette smoke gets sucked into the building.
That's a good point.
Absolutely.
So one of the questions the students always ask, or the faculty, is we've heard there's asbestos in these buildings.
Right.
And I know enough to know that asbestos is only a problem when it's disturbed and it's airborne. But I'm told it's in kind of the pipe insulation and covered. Is that true? As long as the covering's intact, it's really safe?
As long as the covering is intact, it means it's non-friable, which means you can't have the particulates into the air where you could breathe it. So you're absolutely right. In this room in particular, this is regular insulation, but we have several examples of asbestos insulation around campus.
Right.
So anytime we do a construction project, we test for it, and then if it does have asbestos, we remediate. And then the construction project goes on as is planned.
And that's all out of sight for our faculty and our students. They're not ever affected by that unless they see the big plastic wall.
That's right. And that's a good thing. When
Yeah.
you see the construction zones, you see the plastic wall, that means that we're taking the extra safety precautions. But sometimes those plastic walls are just for general dust. So you need to know, you need to have confidence that we're doing everything to maintain the health and safety of the campus.
So the Auraria campus is one of the most dynamic campuses in the state. There's so much going on. And at any given time, we're thinking about how we can upgrade and improve our spaces. So right now, we're in the Auraria Library, which was updated in 2016. Is that right, Colleen?
That's absolutely right. So we've got 185,000 square feet. We have 3 institutions that we're serving, and we know that students are using libraries and resource centers very differently. They're dynamic spaces. And so we came together, this tri-institutional think tank, and then we went to the state legislature and we got funding, almost $27 million to renovate the 185,000 square feet.
So we're talking about funding, though, and we have never-ending needs, especially with our older buildings.
That's right.
How does it work? I mean, how do we decide? I mean, how do we make the case to the legislature for certain projects, Larry?
The interesting part and the challenging part is identifying ways to improve the quality of life for students on campus so that they get the best education they can, and doing that while being good stewards of taxpayer resources. And it isn't an either or. The biggest successes are when we can do both of those things at the same time. And that's the challenge, is finding ways to improve the quality of life and still be frugal, good stewards of taxpayer resources.
So at MSU Denver, we have a real inclusive process. We have a council of people that are looking at infrastructure upgrades to sort of just put the needs and the wants and the dreams on the table so that we can kind of prioritize where we can spend our money, where we can go to the legislature and figure out what things are real safety issues, for what things are quality of life issues. So I encourage everybody to participate in those processes so we can figure out what's next. Okay, that's it for the Roadrunner Rundown. Thanks a lot, you guys.
Thank you.
All right.